Good day. If you watched my first two videos that I did, the Click of Dread Part 1 and Part 2, it was all referring to the solenoid issues. I did have the bike checked over and MOT'd this year, and they did suggest that a new solenoid would probably help with the starting issues. That's been over 3 months, and because of COVID, the stuff hasn't come through. So in the meantime, I purchased a solenoid push button starter there. As you can see, it's already placed onto the bike, which covered in the video, and it works lovely, but I still get the click of dread if I try to use the ignition switch. That could be down to my battery, because I'm going to do a check on it in a minute, and I suspect that it is going to be low on voltage. In order for me to get to the solenoid so that I can strip it down in order to place the repair kit, which I purchased from Cycle Haven online, I've had to remove the exhaust. So I took that off yesterday. So my intention is to remove the seat. We'll just do a quick voltage test on the battery, and then we'll take it from there. Okay, so that's the seat off. I've got my volt reader all connected up, and as you can see, 11.7, so well under the 12 volts. So what I've done is I've ordered a new battery in. It was supposed to have been here this week, but unfortunately, because of COVID, when I checked, the last sighting of it was in Zeebrugge, so I'm still waiting for it to come to the UK mainland. Maybe I'll get it before Christmas, who knows. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to remove the battery. As I've said, I've already taken the exhaust off so I can get more easily to the solenoid, and then we'll take it from there. Okay, that's the battery off. Having looked at it, I've got a cranking amps of 330, as you can see there. The new one that I'm getting, hopefully soon, is 340, so it just might give me that little bit of extra woomph to get this thing going. I've been assured that they're pretty good, those batteries that I'm getting. So having a look at this, so you can just see that boot there. That's the positive lead, which goes down to the top of the solenoid. So I'm hoping that I can attack that from the top here. And then once I've done that, having removed the exhaust, I can now get in there and get this boot off. Once I've got all that off, then hopefully I can then change the contacts and put the new plunger in. So I'm going to try and attack this one here, and then we'll see how we get on. In the meantime, I'm just going to remove the push button starter just to expose the interior of the solenoid. Okay, so I had to take off the starter cover and also the push button starter. So they're off now, and as you can see, that's all now exposed. So while I'm at it, I think I'm going to try and remove this boot and just see how I get on there. Okay, as you can see, I've removed the boot and I've taken off the initial nut that's on there. So I've got another one to get off, and then we've got various other bits stuck on the end of it, which I'm going to have a go at taking off now. Okay, I've gotten the bottom contacts. Hopefully that you could see that. So we have the 12mm nut there, followed by the 14. Then there was a washer. Then there was this cap there to give it a bit of a seal, followed by the O-ring. Then this bracket there. Then the actual contact itself and the nut, which is all going to be replaced. And looking at it, it's not actually too bad, but it's 26 years old, so may as well replace it now that I've got it off. I've got the kit, so that's the bottom one removed. I'll make sure I clean all the contacts before I put it together, so I'm now going to see if I can get that one off. So I'll be back in a little while. Right, that's the top one off, as well as the positive lead going to the solenoid or the starter. There was also this lead as well, so I put a bit of a plastic cover around that just so that I don't forget to put it on. And the sequence was basically 12mm nut again here, which then released this after putting the boot back. That's going to need a good clean before I put it back on. Followed by the 14, the washer, this little seal, and interestingly enough I found this little bit of paper in there, and I thought, oh, that shouldn't be in there, but looking at this I can see there's one in there, so that'll be going into that one. And once again we've got the O-ring and the securing clamp, and as you can see from that, it is a little bit worn around the base there. So that's the contacts now removed. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give this all a good clean, and also the negative as well, and then I'm going to try and assemble it, being very careful with these little contact things here because they look pretty flimsy, but they're still intact. So I'll give it all a good clean in there, and then we'll attempt to put it back together. Okay, before I start, this is the kit that I got. As you can see, we've got another gasket to put on there if need be. I've noticed that we've got two sets of contacts, I suppose, for different models, but these are the ones that I'm going to be using. They're the same as the ones I've got on already. And obviously you've got the boots, the washers and everything else you need, and the fresh whatever that is. What I have noticed is that the old bolts are slightly shorter than the ones that I got with the pack, so I'm going to use the old bolts, but all the rest of the gubbins will be brand new. Okay, so I'm just going to try and sort things out, and then I'll get back to you. Okay, I've got the top one in. It's a bit fiddly getting in there. It'd be so much easier if the whole starter was out, but that's one in there. Still got another bolt to put on that. Make sure I put that other lead in. What I will say is there's a guy called JT, he's an American. He was working on his Fat Boy about a year ago, and it was him that inspired me to actually go in through the top to get the solenoid off. Fortunately he's got a Fat Boy, and his exhaust system didn't mean he had to take the exhaust off because it was totally clear. I do envy all you Americans with double garages, nice and bright. Unfortunately back in Blighty it's single garage for me, but no, great. And whilst we're on the note of America, let's hope for making America great again in 2024. Okay, so I'm going to get this one now fully tightened up and get the leads connected, which I've given a bit of a clean. So I'll get back to you in a minute. Okay, just put the top one in. Had to take it off because the bolt was a little bit too short to put the final nut in, so I've just changed it. I'll put the longer one on now, so let's try and get that one in. Okay, that's the positive terminal lead now to the solenoid. I've dropped the nut somewhere, so I had to use an existing nut from the old kit. Hopefully I'll find it. Don't want it caught up in my belt or anything. Okay, so I made sure that it was as flush as possible. That's it now. The top one anyway, so I'm now going to work on the bottom one. Hopefully that'll be a bit easier and I'm not going to drop anything. Oh, that was a little bit of a struggle. But as you can see, I've got the top and the bottom one in. I was just having to fight gravity trying to get all the bits and pieces and bolts in. So that's all assembled now. I'm just going to give the plunger a bit of a spray. And then put it on the new one. That's the spring, I should say. So I'll just give that a clean because they don't supply you with a spring. So I'm just going to give that a bit of WD-40, put it back in, and then put the cover back on. So I'll catch you in a minute. Okay, that's the cover button back on now, and the starter cover. Sadly, because my battery's no good and I'm waiting for a new one, I'm not going to be able to do a test. So we'll have a follow-up, because I've got to put the exhaust back on, new battery in, and we'll see how it goes from there. But I'm hopeful once I've got the new battery, having changed the contacts, hopefully they're nice and flush. I used some of the kit, some of the stuff I didn't use, had to use some of the old stuff. But as I said, doing that bottom one was certainly a bit of a struggle because I was having to fight gravity. You know, if you just take the starter and the solenoid out complete, then it will be so easy. You'd probably do it in about 5 minutes. Obviously not counting taking the starter out and put it back in, but hopefully that will help. And once again, shout out there for JT for telling me going through the top. But lucky for you, you didn't have to take your exhaust off like me. So bye for now, and I look forward to posting my next one, when hopefully she'll be all singing and all dancing. Thank you. Bye.